So you've seen the shows, okay? The teardowns, the large checks, the whole idea of buying a dilapidated house, fixing it up, and selling it for a huge profit. It looks shiny, and let's be realistic, it's captivated many. But here's the real for real truth that they don't necessarily tell you. There is certainly room for huge profit, but this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It takes a flat-out 3 things to win at this game: rigorous financial planning, good project management, and a solid, no-gimmicks approach to risk management. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the real process of repairing and flipping, so you can set yourself up on the right foot. Okay, now let's start at the start. What is the fix and flip model exactly? Really, it's not that complicated. You find an underpriced property that needs a lot of work. You use your money, or someone else's, lessened by the fact that you're probably going to have to finance it somehow, to make it better, and you sell it for much more later. The economic premise here is all about value added. You're taking a troubled asset, an asset which once had better days, and you're making it an appealing, move-in condition investment for some new owner. But this is the reality check, so important to grasp on day one. This is very capital heavy upfront. Your earnings all hinge on 2 things. 1, securing that really undervalued asset, and 2, having absolutely firm reins on your renovation costs. If you have those 2 incorrect, the whole project can fall apart. Let's even things out and talk about risks versus rewards, because you should be aware of both sides. On the positive side, yes, there is potential to make a great deal of money, especially if you master valuing and managing projects. You get quick payback for your investment, and there's real satisfaction in creating value with improvements from a strategic perspective. You even sometimes get to profit from general market appreciation as you labor. But the risks are great. We're talking about unexpected repair costs that can really blow your budget through the roof overnight. A tiny leak in a pipe can turn into a whole replumbing project. You also have to contend with fluctuations in the market. Imagine the market crashing right when you are about to sell. That can definitely deflate your final selling price. And the length of your project schedule is a killer because it just keeps piling up your carrying costs, such as loan payments and property taxes. The speed of your flip is absolutely key. What was a home run in the buy can become a crushing burden if the local market tacks while you're still wielding a hammer. Even before you are even thinking about buying your first property, there is an absolute mandatory step that you need to take for risk mitigation. You must establish a special business entity. Why is that? Because the fix and flip business involves construction, dealing with contractors, and dealing with dozens of third-party individuals. It is, by its very nature, a liability-intensive business. If you are working alone, you are risking your own resources. Your house, your truck, your savings, total financial and legal disaster. If a contractor gets hurt on the job, or a defect is found after the property has been transferred, they can sue you for everything you own. So what do? Step 1. Form a property holding LLC. This is essential in terms of asset protection. It creates a legal safeguard between the business risks and your own assets. Step 2. Form that LLC in the same state where the property itself is located in order to be efficient in operation and be in compliance. And for yet another strong layer of protection, you can have the state-specific LLC owned solely by a Wyoming holding company. This is a bit of a mouthful, but it's the gold standard method of making sure your business and personal life are kept safe from your business risks. Okay, this is probably the most important slide in the whole presentation. This is your financial protector, the 70% rule. The most common and most deadly mistake starters make is paying too much for the property or not allocating enough funds for the overall project costs. The 70% rule is your protection from that. Here's the math. Your maximum buying price equals the after repair value times 0.70 minus your estimated repair costs. Let's break down why this works. This calculation forces you to keep the other 30% of the ARV for all of your other expenses, your holding expenses, your selling expenses like agent commissions, and your profit margin. Sticking to this rule is necessary because the financing in this business is ruthless. You're repeatedly taking short-term, high-interest loans. And if your purchase price is too great and you experience even a minor delay or cost overage, your profit margin can disappear overnight. So we simply refer to it as ARV, the after repair value. That is your approximate market value of the property after all your repairs are complete. Nailing this number is the most critical input to the feasibility of your whole project. If you make a mistake, everything else is founded on shaky ground. So how do you nail it? You're going to have to be a mini appraiser. First, research comparables. What that involves is looking at recently acquired houses in the surrounding area that are fully rehabbed and similar to what your completed project is going to look like. Number 2, examine local market conditions. Are they generally rising or falling? You need to know which direction. And number 3, you need to pragmatically assign a value to how much your suggested upgrades truly add to the worth of the property compared to those comps. Don't just guess your swanky new kitchen is worth adding $50,000. Find out how much similar kitchens actually added to the sale price of other houses. A profitable flip is not simply about the purchase cost and repair invoices. You'll need to plan for 4 key cost categories. First, your costs of acquisition. That is, the closing costs, legal fees, inspections, and purchase price itself to buy the property. Second, your costs of renovation. That is, labor costs, materials, and permits. And this is key. You must factor in an required contingency buffer of 10 to 15% for unexpected issues. You will always have surprises. Third, your holding costs. These are the expenses that just continue to accrue from the moment you close until you sell. We're referring to property taxes, insurance, utilities, and most notably, the interest charges on your financing. These expenses are what make time money. I've seen holding costs on complex projects more than double $60,000 or more. And fourth, your selling costs. This is realtor commissions, advertising expenditures, and closing costs when finally you sell. You have to factor in all of these up front. So where do you find these mythical, undervalued properties? Success here is finding bargains so low that they can cover all those costs we just mentioned and still leave you a good profit. A good strategy is to go after off-market deals, houses not on the public MLS. Off-market houses are huge winners. They tend to sell for lower prices since there's no agent commission and you have far less competition, so you can avoid those horrible bidding wars you see on hot internet listings. The sellers in these instances are typically highly motivated. They are going through a divorce, foreclosure, or dealing with the death of a family member. All they want is a quick, sure cash closing, not extracting the very last penny. So your main sourcing mechanisms become networking through local real estate agents who deal with these distressed assets, or approaching prospective sellers directly yourself. So how in the world do you pay for all of this? A normal 30-year bank loan is basically useless when it comes to flipping. They take too long to close and are for long-term holds, not for quick flips. Most flippers utilize a hard money loan, or an HML. They're short-term loans, usually 12 to 24 months, from private individuals or companies. Their big advantage is access and speed. You can generally get one with poor credit, and they close quickly, which is key when you're working with a motivated seller. The big downside, interest rates are significantly higher, which raises the financial risk if your project goes off track. Another possibility is a private lender. This might be a relative, a friend, or a private investor. They tend to provide more flexibility, perhaps lower minimum loan sizes and more extended repayment periods, such as 3 to 10 years, based on your relationship. The moment you have a piece of property under contract, you enter the due diligence phase. This is your chance to kick the tires and take a look under the hood before you become locked in. Step 1, just get a professional home inspector to go in depth. You have to uncover all the structural defects, cosmetic needs, and system deficiencies. Concentrate on the high-risk areas, the foundation, the roof, and the main plumbing and sewer lines. These are the things that can set you back an arm and a leg and blow your contingency cushion with one swipe. Depending on what the inspector says, you now have to make a logical, emotionless decision. Do you go ahead as planned? Do you go back and ask for the price reduction based on these unforeseen additional expenses? Or do you walk away and cancel the deal because the profit margin just isn't there anymore? Walking away with bravery is a superhero power in this business. Let's assume you go ahead. Your second job is to take that list of repairs and convert it into a hyper-detailed scope of work, or SOW. This is your remodel Bible. It must be created for two reasons: organization and cost control. A clear SOW prevents scope creep, that out-of-control runaway expansion of the project, where you find yourself uttering, "Well, while we're at it, we might as well." And that goes directly to budget blowouts. Meanwhile, you need to schedule your logistics in such a manner that you do not have dead time after you close. Procure and buy any long lead materials first. Stuff like custom cabinets or windows that take weeks to install. Second, schedule waste disposal. Schedule a dumpster to be on the site the day after closing so demolition can proceed immediately. And lastly, schedule with your contractors. The nice ones are always occupied, so you have to reserve their time slots before officially closing. This is so important, it merits a separate slide. Your selection of contractor is the greatest single operational risk you will take. Allow me to give you a chilling statistic. Construction businesses have almost a 65% chance of failing during their initial 5 years of operation. That is to say that whichever rush screening process you use is a massive risk with the end result of your project. The monetary consequence of a contractor default is cruel. You receive substandard work, you forfeit the money that you've already paid them. You end up paying twice to a new contractor to complete the work, and you experience drastic project delays that inflate your holding costs. So here's what. The temporary delay that is caused by a thorough vetting process is not a hassle. It is an absolute requirement. It is an insurance policy that safeguards your entire cost calculation. So what does a good vetting process look like? Use the 7-step framework below. 1. Financial analysis. Request 2 years of financial statements. Look for warning signs that include declining revenue or excessive debt that could foreshadow a bankruptcy. 2. Capacity verification. Ask them what jobs they currently have in progress. Do they have adequate trained labor to actually get it done on your timeline, or are they too busy? 3. Legal compliance. Verify their current licensure and that they maintain both general liability and workers' compensation insurance. This protects you if someone gets hurt. 4. Quality control. Ask them to describe their quality control process. Examine their portfolio of current work and ask what their warranty process is. 5. Safety protocols. Review their safety record, including their experience modification rate. You want a rate below 1.0, and any OSHA report of incidents. 6. Reference checks. And I don't mean brief chats. Interview at least 3 of their most recent clients. Ask about quality, communication, and whether they completed on time. And 7. Supplier relations. This is a professional tip. Call up their suppliers and ask about payment history. A contractor who pays their invoices on time tends to be financially healthy. Once you've taken care of all the structural and safety issues, where do you spend your renovation money to obtain the greatest value? On cosmetic, high-impact updates that go directly to the heart of prospective buyers. 1. A fresh coat of paint. It sounds simple enough, but painting every interior surface in clean, neutral colors brightens up the whole space and has it feeling ready to move into instantly. 2. New hardware. Old cabinet handles, doorknobs, and bathroom hardware are easy and cheap to replace. This is an effective way of making the whole space feel fresh. 3. Modern lighting. Replace those outdated old light fixtures. New lighting makes the space feel larger and creates a modern atmosphere for the property as a whole. And 4. Curb appeal. Update the landscaping, add some flowers and mulch. You only get to make that first impression once, and that starts at the curb. Before you even get to listing the property, you need to lock down your numbers and calculate your net profit. The math is easy. Your net profit is the after repair value minus the total of your acquisition, renovation, holding, and selling costs. This is where you are confirming that financial feasibility you calculated based on the 70% rule at the beginning, actually held true. Remember that 30% buffer we talked about was going to go for all these costs and your profit. You'll also have that 15% contingency for rehabbing. And you can't help but remember the realtor commission, which is typically around 6% of the sale price. Project these numbers realistically. If there isn't going to be a profit there, you're going to have to rethink. Paying the piper to the end. To get the highest possible sale price and minimize your market time, which is a key defense against those annoying holding costs, you require professional marketing. Marketing is no longer a cost at this stage. It's an essential investment. This is pro staging. You have to create eye appeal that enables buyers to imagine a home there and mentally live there. Promote the property lifestyle, highlight outdoor entertaining areas or unique architectural details, and take advantage of digital technology. Drone video and virtual tours are no longer nice-to-haves. They make your listing pop in a tough market and can actually accelerate the sale. And now, drone videography. If you're going to film it right. First, technically, film in at least 4K resolution. You'll be needing that sharpness to show the quality of your work. Slow, smooth, and deliberate panning. No jerky, snap-and-go panning. And film in the golden hours, shortly after dawn or shortly before sunset, for that soft, warm, inviting light. In your content planning, make sure you highlight how unique the property is. Does it have an amazing pool, a patio, a beautiful view? Highlight it. In addition, use the drone to show the surrounding neighborhood and amenities. Give people an idea of the whole package through a mix of angles, from the high top shots to see the whole property, to low flyovers to give it a more immersive feel. Okay, this is dry but completely critical. The tax implications. How the IRS handles your flipping business has a huge impact on how profitable you are. This depends on your intent. Are you a quick reseller or long-term holder? If you're constantly flipping, the IRS is going to treat you as a real estate dealer. What that means? Your profits are ordinary income, so you tax them at your highest marginal rate. You'll also be paying self-employment tax. You can't depreciate. And if you do self-financing, you tax the entire proceeds at the time. If you have property for more than a year, you're typically a real estate investor. This is a much better tax position. You have lower, long-term capital gains rates, no self-employment tax, and you can utilize advanced strategies like cost segregation to accelerate depreciation. This is a huge reason why some investors shift from flipping to a buy and hold approach. So let's put it all in perspective. Successful implementation of a fix and flip hinges on 3 interdependent pillars. First, mandatory financial discipline. The 70% rule is your gatekeeper of record. Deviate from it at your own risk. Second, risk mitigation of operations. This is your LLC for asset protection and that strict 7-step vetting system for contractors. These are not niceties. They are your policy of insurance. And third, time is capital. Because of those usurious short-term loans, whatever can be done should be done to abbreviate your timeline. That means aggressive due diligence, a clearly defined scope of work to prevent scope creep, and professional marketing to bring the sale on faster. So as a beginner, your path is set. You have to pursue fix and flip as a conscious exercise in cost control within a tight time frame, not as a speculative venture in surface-level repairs you see on the TV. Start with education. Educate yourself on the 70% rule and ARV mathematics before you even think about making an offer. Second, build your team. Create real relationships with quality contractors, smart lenders, and shrewd real estate operators. And finally, execute with discipline. Remain committed to the game plan we're going to go over today. Because in this business, deviation from the plan dramatically increases your likelihood of financial loss. Do it right, and you can reap that big profit against the high volatility of the real estate market. If you like this video and wish to proceed with your real estate learning, then subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you can know what's in store next. To keep your momentum rolling, I've chosen another video for you that will help you in your investing journey. You'll see it right here on the screen. Just click it and go ahead and learn some more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.